Hello and happy February. Let's plan for February. Quick thing, pause here or pause there if you wanted the Tombow codes for the brush pens that I'm going to be using in this setup. So this month I decided to go with a picnic theme because I've been dreaming about doing a picnic theme since like last April or something when I got back into bullet journaling, but I never really had the confidence or the guts to because I didn't believe in my drawing skills enough. But after last month, I became a lot more confident in drawing my bullet journal, so I decided to do a picnic theme. And yeah, I love how these doodles came out, and for this plan with me, I'm only going to be setting up the cover page because it did take a little bit longer than usual, and I didn't want to make this video too long, but I will be posting the rest of my February spreads on my Instagram, so you can check them out there. So first things first, I'm doing the little like gingham pattern that stereotypical picnic blankets have, but instead of doing it in red, I'm doing it in this bluish purple. It's one of my favorite colors right now. It's the Tombow 553, and the way I'm making the pattern is just by doing stripes diagonally one way, and then doing stripes the opposite way at like 90 degrees, so that when they cross over, the ink layers on top of itself, making the little like darker check boxes that you see on those blankets. So since this is a little bit long of a video and I don't really have that much to say about this February cover, I'm also gonna make it a get to know me because I have a ton of questions from just DMs that I've gotten, from times that I've posed questions or posed opportunities to ask questions. So starting off, what is my favorite thing about bullet journaling? I've done a couple of interviews or like talked to people about this before, but I think my favorite thing is like the openness or like the freshness of a new page. Each page is an invitation to do something brand new. It can be something you've done in the past, like get inspiration from yourself, or it can be a completely new like spread that you've never tried before. I just love the freshness of each page. It's very inviting to me, and a little bit like on the same note, I love the kind of tool it is. Obviously, it's a productive tool that you can use in your day-to-day life to be able to stay organized and keep track of things, but at the same time, I love that it's a productive tool while being a creative outlet. I remember in junior year being so stressed out and not being able to do any of the things that I was passionate about, especially art, except for like in my art class, but outside of school, I didn't have that space for myself. But then when quarantine started and I started to get back into bullet journaling, it was so refreshing that I could be productive and creative at the same time, and that when I was creative, it was fueling my productivity. So yeah, that's why I would recommend bullet journaling to anyone, because you don't have to be like the most talented art kid in the world to do it. You really just need like a brush and a pen, and you can draw small doodles as you do it to just make the bullet journal you, to make it reflect the things you're interested in, or you can add like little music, little playlists at like different corners of your pages, because it's really about you. And it's like a time capsule, kind of like the same way a regular journal is, but it's a time capsule of also all the productive things that you do in your life that you might not necessarily put in a regular journal. And I like to like encourage, or at least for myself, that like I use it beyond just academic productivity, because there's so many other ways to be productive. You don't have to be like productive at a job or productive at school to just be productive. You can be productive in taking care of yourself. So when there's self-care activities that I've been meaning to do, I write them down in my bullet journal as like a task, because that taking care of yourself is still productive, and that's really important to me. And I think habit trackers work in the same way, because it's about doing things for you as well, outside of like school and work and stuff like that. So going back to my February cover, I'm doing some really basic lettering, just going back to simple style calligraphy. I did calligraphy of February and a little quote to sort of break up the gingham, and then also all of the picnic doodles. I really hope I'm saying gingham right. It's it looks weird. So my next question was why I started bullet journaling. So I heard about bullet journaling from a friend in middle school, and I've always kind of been an artsy kid. Like when we had school projects, I would always try to make mine as extra as I could because it was an enjoyable process for me. And so I used to keep like a regular standard agenda, especially the ones that like our school gave to me. But it never felt right. The process never worked for me. My friend told me about bullet journaling, and I decided to try it out, and I loved the flexibility of it. And so I started trying to do it in freshman and sophomore and junior year, but it never really stuck because I thought it demanded a lot of time, and I also tried to plan out the entire year at once instead of doing it as the year went on, and that like kind of exhausted me. Like I felt a little bit burnt out halfway through the bullet journal, and so I kind of just like gave up on the journal instead of continuing it. So last April or May, I discovered Amanda Rachel on YouTube, and I watched her Lo-Fi Girl setup, and that's when it just clicked for me I started getting back into bullet journaling, and I realized my spreads can be as fancy as I want them to be, as simple as I want them to be, and it really just matters like that I'm getting joy from it. If I'm not getting joy from it, then I shouldn't be doing it. And there have been times like last November where bullet journaling wasn't doing it for me, so I stuck to simple spreads and I changed themes around to make things more exciting for me. And I went back to spreads that I really loved and I was really proud of as inspiration because I knew that would kind of remotivate me. So, on that note, someone also asked what age I was when I started bullet journaling. I don't know the exact age. I think you're 14 when you go into freshman year. But at the same time, like, I didn't really, like, continue it properly. So I guess I would say I was 17 because I started it last May and I turned 17 in May. So, switching to a lighter topic on music, I had a lot of people ask me about music, and that kind of made me happy because music is a really important part of my life. So the first question that someone asked me is, what concerts have you gone to? So I would just like to preface this that I went to a music festival in junior year, so that's why my list is kind of long. I didn't like pay individually for all of these concerts, and I'm very grateful to have been able to go to these concerts and that my family supports my love and passion for music. So my very first concert that I've ever went to is a Katy Perry concert because I was an avid Katy Perry fan in 5th grade, and she was opened by Becky G. At the time, I didn't know that other artists opened for bigger artists, and Becky G was also one of my favorite artists, but I didn't know that she was going to be there, so I was pleasantly surprised. And at the time, Becky G was kind of small, and so, like, I was the only person in my section who was singing along, and I don't know, that moment just gives me a lot of joy because I remember my dad was with me there, and he didn't know any of the Becky G songs because neither of us knew she was going to be there, but he knew like some Katy Perry songs because he made an effort to listen to them before, and I don't know, just like, I remember him like smiling at me the entire time, and that moment was just really sweet for me, and he's my number one person to show music to and to share music with, and so that's like, it's a core memory. If I had to say, like, if I had a music world in my mind, I would say that that's a core memory. And I remember at the Becky G concert, I was singing along to all of her songs, and I was like, when is shower coming? When is shower coming? And then at the very end of her set, she did shower, and I was like, it was just a perfect moment for me. So, another really big one I've seen is Halsey. She's my favorite artist of all time. She's probably a concert I would go see again. And she was opened by Charlie XCX and Party Next Door. And then I've also seen Conan Gray. I saw him in Austin, which is his hometown, which I thought was kind of cool. And he was opened by Girl in Red. And then the concerts I saw at a music festival, I saw part of King Princess, a little bit of K-Flay. I saw Tame Impala, which was a mind-opening experience. I don't know about mind-opening. It was a religious or spiritual experience. That moment is something I treasure, and that moment was so good with my friends, and I never want to let go of it. We also saw Phineas and Billie Eilish. I saw a little bit of Kali Uchis. I wasn't really into her at that time, but my friend was, and so I went with them to go see it. I saw some of Pink Sweat's set. He's one of my favorite artists, but I was also kind of short, and I got there late, so I couldn't really see anything. So that was awkward, but I could hear it, and that's what matters. I also saw 21 Savage. He's not as good as I thought he would be, and I don't know, his show is a little bit disappointing for me. But after that, I did see Childish Gambino, and that show was amazing. Like, oh my god, I have so many videos from that show, and I constantly relive them because I like need that serotonin that show gives me in my life. And then I also saw B. Miller, Lizzo, which was also an incredible show. The energy in that crowd was, like, I can't imagine that kind of crowd now because of COVID, but we were all pressed up against each other. Me and my friends got there kind of early, like, we waited for, like, 45 minutes so that we were towards the front. And just the energy in the crowd and the energy that Lizzo has was so, like, fulfilling. Like, it energized me for, like, the next month. And then I also saw Cardi B, which was, I think, me and my best friend's favorite, because we were just, like, shouting the lyrics, not even singing them, shouting the lyrics the entire time, and it was at night, and it just really set the scene. So yeah, those are all the concerts that I've been to. I had people ask me my favorite songs, which is a very unfair question, because I can't choose a favorite song, but, some of my favorite artists obviously include Halsey, Conan Gray, Girl in Red, Clairo, I'm trying to think of more, The Neighborhood, Arctic Monkeys, Gracie Abrams, she was my number one last year. Trying to think of more. I really like SZA, Childish Gambino. Some of the top songs from my 2020 Spotify playlist, if you're like, I don't know, maybe that's a good indication, of the songs I like. But one of them, my number one was Stay by Gracie Abrams. My number two was, Feel Something by B. Miller. I can't remember the other ones, and my Spotify isn't loading right now. But, yeah, you can check me out on Spotify at rosepet, like T.ALS. Yeah, if you want to. And then, so yeah, that's that on music. So, back to my February cover. What I've essentially done so far is outline all of the, all the drawings. I pre-drew them because I like drew them when listening or like to music or watching movies, or in some classes where like I didn't have to necessarily write notes, but it will be soon cutting to like the next day when I went ahead and colored in all of the details. So some deeper questions. What do you want to be what do I want to be when I grow up? That's a kind of a weird question for me because I don't really know. But I have always dreamed about owning several small businesses because making an impact in my community is really important to me, and it's kind of like there's historical evidence that small businesses make the biggest impacts in their community as compared to like large corporations. And I think owning small businesses would be a great way for me to stay with my passions and like keep them as a part of my life no matter where or what I'm doing. So yeah, I'd like to own several small businesses. I've owned a jewelry business in the past. I'm thinking about starting a stationery business. I'm not sure what else I would do, but I do know that when it comes to like causes I definitely want to support education for marginalized groups, and I want to support environmental issues. That's why I went vegan, for environmental reasons. I'll talk more about that in a second. And so yeah, those are some of the big issues I want to like address, and also like trying to make education curriculums less whitewashed and try to bring in more POC stories. And because our education builds our opinions, whether or not we like want to admit that it does. And I think that starting kids off with a strong education about America's history is like the best place to bring up people who care for one another and who empathize with each other. So as you can see, it's the next day, coloring in all of my doodles. I tried to make the outlines for the doodles a little bit darker by going over it once or twice with the end of the Tombow Duo brush pen, so that the colors kind of stood out. I don't know, I like the streakiness of all of the way the brush pens color in, so that's what I wanted to make stand out. So, on the note, one of the deeper questions I got was, why did you go vegan? And so I went vegan a year and a half ago in August of 2019, because that was the time of the Amazon fires, and I was shocked that land was being cleared to raise agriculture, or to raise livestock, or to plant crops for livestock, not even for people, for livestock. And so that really that got to me. That I don't eat beef because of spiritual and religious reasons, and I also am allergic to milk, so I've never consumed those products. But I don't know, there was other animal products I used to eat, and the whole Amazon forest just kind of put into perspective, the Amazon forest fires put into perspective, like, how much of our land and how much of our effort and resources are going into raising animals for food, and also the really unethical and inhumane ways that we produce animal products, like the industrial farming for cows. That always shocks me. There's a really good episode of Rotten on Netflix about industrial chickens and their eggs and stuff, and I think that and Cowspiracy is a really good place to start in educating yourself about what it takes to raise animal products. Obviously, if veganism doesn't work for you, then that's totally fine. I don't like the vegans who are like, you eat animal products, that makes you like a really bad person or like a sinner. That always bothers me, because people make food choices and diet choices based off of what is right for them. We have no right to be like dissing or roasting each other for any of those preferences or choices. And of course, if you're like hosting a get together and you're vegan, I think it's a great thing to make vegan dishes just to encourage your friends to try new things. But I wouldn't force it on anyone. Everyone should ultimately be able to make their own choices and do what's right for them. But I would encourage trying to figure out ways to make your life more environmentally sustainable, whether that's taking mesh bags with grocery store instead of using the plastic ones there, or switching to an electric car, or taking like walks or biking to school if you can. Those kinds of things. They all add up in the end. So I was also asked about my hobbies and favorite things to do outside of bullet journaling. I don't know, bullet journaling has become a really big part of my life, so this is a weird question. But yeah, I am an artist in several different ways. I really like painting, digital art, sketching. I love working with charcoal. Charcoal's always been one of my favorite mediums. And I like collecting art too. I really like art-based things. I play golf. I'm my team's golf captain. I have really bad asthma, and so I like experimented with sports for a really long period of my life, and I found out I could play golf without having difficulty breathing. That was like life-changing to me, and I really enjoy that golf lets you be outside while still being active. I play a little bit of guitar and a little bit of ukulele here and there. I'm a big tea drinker. Lemon ginger tea is my favorite. I recently made a blanket. I don't know if that counts as a hobby, but I do want to like try making some more, because I want to make one for my college dorm, because I want to give the old blanket to my mom. I like watching TV. I'm a really big Criminal Minds, Haiku, Alta. Those are some of my favorite shows. New Girl, those are good. Really big music listener, as we know. I like cooking. I like experimenting with cooking, because I'm gonna have to be self-sufficient next year in college, and it's also kind of weird because of my allergies and because of my veganism, options for food for me are going to be kind of difficult to get in a regular dining hall, so it's kind of up to me to feed myself. So now some rapid fire questions, because we have about 5 minutes left. My favorite movies are Parasite, Imitation Game? Yes, Imitation Game. I had to make sure I got it right. Moonlight. I really like Radiant Girls. Essentially, I like historical fiction. Movies. I'm not as big of a movie watcher as I am compared to like TV shows. I also liked Les Mis. That's a really good movie. Some of my other favorite TV shows, there wasn't a question, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. The Queen's Gambit, Rotten, really love Rotten, and Lupin, which is a new show. It's a great thriller. Me and my family love heist movies, and that was one of the best heist shows that I've ever seen. My favorite type of bread, which I think is very fitting to this picnic theme, I love French baguettes, especially with, like, as bruschetta, with the tomatoes and basil and stuff. Yes. And also, I love making French baguettes into garlic bread, or even just putting some butter on them and toasting them. I'm also a really big bagel advocate. I love bagels. I want a bagel guillotine in my life at some point. And there was another one. Ciabatta bread is so good. I got everything ciabatta from Trader Joe's a while back, and that was life-changing. My Hogwarts house. I am a Hufflepuff. I used to think that I was a Slytherin, but I was wrong. I'm definitely a Hufflepuff, and I'm proud Hufflepuff. I have a little cute sticker that I share with one of my friends, because we're both Hufflepuffs. This one was my favorite. Someone asked me what my favorite shape is, and I'd have to say that my favorite shape is either a star or a heart, because stars are super fun to draw, and also because everyone is a star, and hearts because they're just very lovely. I was asked if I like clouds. I love clouds. I have more pictures of clouds in my phone than I do have pictures of myself. Send me all of your cloud pictures. Big cloud fan. My desk is right in front of a really big window, so I literally just like stare at clouds all day. Love them. Love clouds. I was asked cats or dogs. Dogs are cute, but they're kind of loud. I love cats. I don't know, they just seem super cuddly. I guess maybe not like cuddly, but it's nice because they coexist with you. And I really want a cat, but I'm allergic to cats. I'm also allergic to dogs, but maybe, I don't know, I'll take allergy shots or something so that I can have a cat. I really want an orange tabby. And I would name them Muffin, even though they wouldn't look like a muffin, but I just think that's a cute cat name. My favorite classes, I love history classes, and math classes. It's like a weird combination. I've never been like a science and math girl or an English and history girl. I love my history classes, especially art history and, U.S. history. That was a really fun class to me because there was just so much content, for us to learn about. And then, I also really like math classes. I'm taking like this kind of quirky math class this year where we learn about mathematical like theory stuff, but not necessarily like stuff that like College Board has told us to learn about. So yeah, I really like my math and history classes. I got asked how tall are you? 4'10". Moving on. My favorite colors right now, very specifically, are the Tombow 192, which is the sage green that I use for all my plants and some blankets and the grapes and strawberry leaves. Tombow 991, which is what I used last month for my oranges, and Tombow 553, which is that blue purple shade on top. Right now, those are my three favorite colors, but they're also subject to change because I like all colors. So I am coming to an end of this video. I'm just finishing up the doodles that you see on the screen before you, and before we get to the little like last look, it's also on my Instagram if you're interested. I did have something to mention. I am going to be hosting a giveaway. There will be more details on my Instagram, but I'm going to be giving away my favorite Tombow pack, which is this portrait pack, the earrings you see, and these 3 sticker sheets. And also a letter from me, because I thought it'd be fun to just personalize it a little bit. So anyway, here's the final look, and thank you so much for watching.